Hey everyone, my name is Thilo, Program Manager at Murzilli Consulting, and today we are at the Commercial UAV Expo 2024 in Las Vegas. With me I have Ulrich, CEO of SwissDrones. Glad to have you. Looking forward to learn about SwissDrones.
Thanks for having me.
And for us, as our company is also headquartered based in Switzerland, always interesting to hear about Swiss companies. And as the name implies, I would bet you are Swiss-based. So, Ulrich, if you could tell us a little bit about SwissDrones, what are you doing? How long are you in the market? What is your business case? What are you working on? What is your product? Give us and the audience a brief summary of what are you doing as a company.
Right, so happy to do that. So we're in our 11th year, so we're pretty early on in the game. Developing and manufacturing unmanned helicopter systems. We'll probably see that in some footage. 3 meters of dimension, almost 100 kilos of takeoff weight, long range, beyond visual line of sight. What we're doing is basically taking helicopters out of the sky, replacing manned helicopters for long-range missions in aerial surveillance, aerial intelligence, as we call it, infrastructure inspection, public safety, search and rescue, everything that doesn't require people to be in a helicopter, particularly in areas you don't want to have people because of danger and all of that, to enable that and digitize those processes.
Nice, interesting. And I think Switzerland is one of the areas of this world where there's a lot of helicopter operation ongoing. Is that the key reason for you to be in Switzerland, or is the market perfect? What is the reason that Switzerland is a good environment for you as a company and the application that you are developing and bringing to the market?
So Switzerland is a pretty perfect place because every competence that you need for that sort of development comes together. You have a very highly skilled workforce in electronics, in avionics, in software, in mechanical engineering, in manufacturing. So we kind of bring that all into one place, and it attracts people from many other places to come work for us. About half of our workforce is foreigners that have relocated to Switzerland for the job, which allows us also to employ the best people we can find in the world.
So where exactly is your headquarters located? So where do you bring the people to if they come to?
The headquarters is in Zurich, and our manufacturing site is in Buchs in the Rhine Valley.
Nice. And is it an opportunity or a benefit for you to have both the headquarter development activities and also production in Switzerland, so that you have all in one country located?
Yeah, it helps. I mean, you don't necessarily want to distribute that around the world. It works well for us. Manufacturing is, not necessarily something you need to do in Switzerland, but on the other hand, it's not the biggest portion of costs. So we outsource component manufacturing around Europe, and we do final assembly only in our facility. So that works pretty well for us.
Okay, so getting qualified, highly professional people is the key driver for Switzerland as a location to be a successful company delivering a high quality in an aviation environment.
Yeah, and we're part of the Swiss Aerospace Cluster, which also brings together all those competencies and aircraft manufacturers basically in the country. So yeah, indeed. I mean, quality is quite a relevant element, safety and quality in our industry, and that works very well in Switzerland. So we would not necessarily want to offshore that to just because of cost to some other player.
All right, nice. Thank you very much for these insights. It's always interesting to learn and see the differences and the unique selling points and opportunities for companies based on the environment that they are located in. When it comes to your product, is your key market also Switzerland, or are you independent from Swiss and distributing your product to a wider audience, to a bigger market? What is your focus area right now?
We're focusing on the biggest markets globally, and we've been starting out in mainly in Asia, like 7 years ago. So our product is already in commercial use across 14 countries, all continents. The biggest markets being North America, Australia, and some Asian places as well. We started out in the Wild West days of before the regulation came into force in China, in Indonesia, in Malaysia, and all these places around Asia mainly. And now we're really moving into the West, Middle East, and then North America in particular. homing to all these regulatory approvals as well in those countries, which have been a key priority for us very early on in that development. So we now have approvals in 35 countries to fly beyond visual line of sight.
It's a lot.
As one of the first OEMs of a large, i.e. beyond 25 or kilos or 55 pounds airframe for actual commercial missions in the public airspace. So it's real, it's commercial now, it's no longer pilot projects or POCs or just some prototype-ish things. So we're operating on a daily basis for commercial missions, real life.
Oh, that's impressive, especially like not being focused on one key market or a reduced number of key markets, but like 35 different approvals from different authorities. That's definitely a high achievement. From your experience being pretty early in that environment in the Wild West days and now having a much more mature regulatory framework, do you see the implemented regulation as an enabler, or was it a challenge to adapt to for you as a business?
It definitely is one of the key challenges in our industry. We anticipated that about 5 years ago, and we invested a great deal of our time in establishing those documentation frameworks, building the product to that standard, and pretty much reverse engineering all of those requirements that we saw coming at the time before they were even implemented to kind of develop it to that end. And that has paid back in getting those approvals pretty much as the first company in this environment. In many geographies and with many jurisdictions. So it is a challenge, but it's also an enabler. And our philosophy is we see it as not just as a necessity to kind of comply as a burden, but we embrace this also as an enabling element to be ahead of that curve and actually make sure that we can operate safely and in a compliant way. We very much believe that this is the future of the drone industry. You can only succeed if you comply with those things.
It must be to be integrated into airspace and to come to a point where new unmanned aviation is becoming a regular participant into the existing airspace, flying together with manned aircrafts and unmanned aircrafts. I think it's a key enabler to comply to regulation, to be able to do this. And I think also a unique selling point for you to be one of the first movers who actually achieved the authorization under the still in development of the framework. That's interesting. For you, what are the next steps? Like, you already established, regulatory environment is still moving. It's not fully implemented and in place yet. What are the next steps? What are the next challenges ahead of you as a company?
We're now really at the stage where the real use gets real. Getting into actual use cases repeatedly, signing up for service contracts, selling hardware also to entities that want to operate them, helping them to get approvals. So we're really rolling out on a commercial basis now across these key markets, and we see a huge pickup and the certain demands. To make use of those capabilities that are now available, and we can enable that for real benefits like saving lives in incident response environments, wildfire fighting. Now real projects being at the launch, infrastructure inspection, huge amounts of pipeline and power grids and so forth, where you have casualties in manned inspections all the time. You have pollution issues. You have other emission issues with disturbing people in the neighborhoods and all that. Generating better data by automating the data capture and all that. Analyzing the data, using AI for data capture and so forth. It's just a ton of benefits that we are unlocking now. And the market realizes that this becomes a real opportunity. It's no longer a science fiction type discussion.
It's real now. But that sounds like you are already in a phase of commercial operations that are starting to scale. You're not anymore in the waiting phase that this commercial scalability is coming. You are in the middle, or you at least started that process. That's interesting, because a lot of companies, stakeholders that we're talking to are still waiting for this. While you are already, or have overcome this blocking point or this hurdle in getting into commercialization, which is from your point of view, what I get, complying to regulation, being safe, and getting the approvals from authority is the enabler for that.
It's one key enabler. It's just the ticket to ride. You need to comply, otherwise you can't fly. It's a whole stack of things. So it's also understanding the customer demand. It's understanding the use cases. It's understanding what exact information and data and insight is requested in every case. And then you define your focus to align with those market demands. And you need to start developing those solutions end to end and to prove them, to refine them. And that's a whole process that took us a couple of years to get to this point of view.
Okay, interesting. And then the next step, and what everybody is keen to understand also into, is become a profitable business and to really have a sustainable use case and ensure that the company is funded or reliable to survive on a long-term perspective. Is this already something that SwissDrones achieved with the current setup and with the being in the scaling phase already? Are you profitable? Is the market prepared for that? Or is there still something that needs to change, to happen, to make it also more cost efficient and to really secure your profitability?
So the way we approach it is we really want to get into a scaling business in a global market that's massively growing. And our investors, and we're lucky to have a number of very, very capable, mainly US-based venture capital investors and some European-based as well, is to make sure that we get our foot into the door into those key domains and then scale to reach a significant market share also. And that requires gross capital. So profitability in terms of gross margin is given. So yes, we can profitably deliver those individual projects, but at the same time, we invest in gross money to really scale the operation and further develop the product and R&D and all those things. So it's quite an investment required and still being required to achieve that.
Okay, that's, I think, good to understand and you get the perspective on. And I think we saw in the past years that it's more and more difficult to get venture capital, to get funding from the outside for a lot of players in the market. Potentially also as there have been a lot of players initially and only the real good ones are at a position to survive with changed global possibilities in investing into companies. What is your perspective on this? How is it for SwissDrones in your position that you are in? Is it a good environment still to get this venture capital that is required to grow, or is it challenging in that environment right now?
Yeah, I guess it's not a secret that the VC ecosystem is in a pretty difficult state still, given interest rates and all that. That is not yet where it used to be a couple of years ago. So it is a challenge, yes. It takes a lot of time and effort. Refining your investment case, making the right decisions as to where you spend the money and how you scale. So yeah, it is a very, very crucial element to succeed, is to attract money and keep investing.
Okay, good. No, I think totally understood, and I think that's what everybody is facing right now in the industry. But then good to see and to hear that you are successful in this phase right now and that you are about or in the scaling process. Maybe as a last question, for you as a company, with the achievements that you had so far, what are the next steps or what are current challenges to enable real growth? Is it you have to just continue as is, doing business as usual, or are there unique challenges that you are currently tackling to enable the next steps as a company?
Well, it's coming along with the novelty and the immature market we're operating in. In our segment, it's not like in small drone deployments, you actually need to have an aviation grade operation. So we are building that ourselves in key markets, but there are not many out there that are ready to operate and getting the approvals and all the things you need, which means pilots with licenses, regulatory approvals for themselves as operators. So there are many that want to deploy our technology, but they first need to build an operational capability. And that requires an investment on behalf of the customers as well. And that is breaking up, but it takes time. There are only a handful of qualified operators out there today globally that could just buy our product and deploy that tomorrow. And others first need to build that. So it's that combination of our own investment to building operational capabilities in our key markets, but also partnering with others and finding customers to help them build the operational capability.
Okay, yeah, I think that's a good statement to have, especially in your case that you have a larger drone than the typical size below 25 kg. That is more easy potentially to get into operation, but for a large system like yours with the safety case connected to it, it really needs capable operators, a solid regulatory foundation for the operators to build on, and then it would enable even faster scalability for you as a business.
Exactly.
Thank you very much for the time, Ulrich. It was very nice to have you here in the interview, get the insights from SwissDrone. Check out the video description. There we have the link to SwissDrone, to your LinkedIn profile, and you can also see more of the product of SwissDrone. Leave a like if you like the comment. The content, not the comment, and follow our channel. And if you have any further questions to Ulrich, leave a comment, and see you then in the next video. Thank you very much.
Thank you.